how do you use Gagne's 9 events, a good organizational strategy when you're trying to use video as your main medium? Video is a great tool. I like to really, video is so good for things like job aids or like quick little how-to videos, something that I like to incorporate into my computer-based instruction. But how do you use just video? Sometimes you don't really have the option to create computer-based instruction, or the client's demand is that they just want video. So I'm going to show you kind of how to apply Gagne's 9 events, one of the most popular organizational strategies, to video, and it does need to be, I will say, when you apply an organizational strategy designed for content curriculum like computer-based training, classroom instruction, it does need to be modified for video in some ways. And I'll kind of go through and I'm going to explain that as I go through this. All right, so let's start with level 1, right? We gain the learner's attention. This is no different than anything else. We can do this so many different ways with video. In some ways, we can do some unique things, like we can add music and things that are we can do that with CBT too, but we can do some really cool things with video, As far as gaining attention, no problem. Very easy to do. Variety of things you can do. Level 2, inform the learners of what they're going to learn, right? What are the goals? What are the objectives? Again, no different than face-to-face, no different than computer-based training. You can do, so many ways to do that. Level 3, stimulate recall prior knowledge. It's very easy to stimulate this recall and tell the learners, start to come up with some strategies about getting them to remember what they know. Assuming the learners are all on the same level. Video becomes much more challenging if the learners are on different levels. Like in a face-to-face group, I might divide, the learners into various workstations based on their prior knowledge. Or in computer-based training, I could have links to various different types of, are you a novice? Are you more, I can direct them a little better. In video, you can't really do that unless you're creating multiple videos. And you almost have to have the learners start with the video. So if you're just having a group and it's a group video, or you only have one, this becomes a little more challenging. Unless you're assuming all the learners have the same prior knowledge, then it's not really a problem. You can very easily present it. All right. Present the material to be learned. All right, this is where we use our delivery strategies, right? We can use cases. We can do, all kinds of different things. Just like face-to-face or computer-based training, we can present in all kinds of different ways, get the content out there to the learner. We can do some really cool things. So this is not a problem. It's when we start to get in these levels 5 through 9 that things start to change quite a bit, and it becomes a little more challenging when you're using just video. And let's talk about that. So provide learning guidance. So this can be a little bit of a challenge if you're just using video, but obviously if we're using like mixed media, they can have instructions, rubrics, things like that already sent to them, like within the page where I'm getting the video from, so they can have that kind of information, assuming we have that option. We can also relate in the video examples, like, worked examples, the things they know, to relate things, to help provide that learning guidance. So there are ways to do this. It just becomes a little more difficult with video than it is in CBT or it is in face-to-face instruction. Now, level 6 and 7, so elicit performance and provide feedback, become a lot more challenging in video. There are some ways to do it. It's definitely not as easy. So like one example, if I have a facilitator in the group or a teacher and you're showing a video to a group of people, the video can ask a question and the facilitator can stop the video and, you can talk and discuss and then play, and it kind of can go through the answer. Or you can even have a question and tell the user to pause the video while you think or you do something, do a task, and then it can play. It can say like, play this when you're done, and the person and themselves play. So there are some ways to do it. It just becomes a little more challenging. You can even just have like a break, like you have some kind of knowledge check and you pause for 30 seconds while the user's thinking. So, you can do some things like that. It is possible. It's just it's not as clean and nice as I can do with CBT or face-to-face. I can just do a lot more there. It's one of the reasons why I love just combining things together. Add video to my CBT. None of this is an issue. And then level 7, the provide feedback, is the same thing. These steps are really combined together. Can become a challenge. And then level 8, you just can't do it via video only. You have to have the users do something, whether that's on paper. So level 8 is assess performance. Level 9 is enhance retention and transfer. You can't really do this with video. It's not designed for that. You need some kind of other media, whether they are going to a learning management system to take some kind of assessment on the objectives, what they just covered, or, how are you really going to assess it? And you need something else besides just video, but you have to think about, so what am I going to use? Am I going to have them create something and send it to some facilitator who's going to give them feedback on it? Or are we going to start analyzing them in their job? So maybe these steps go beyond the video, and that's okay. You can do that. But as far as incorporating these into the video, that's not going to work too well. It becomes very difficult. And this is really how, if I was using just video as my medium, I would try to incorporate Gagne's 9 events. As you can see, some of the steps work really well. And for the most part, you can create full video training. As we know, we've been doing it forever, right? We've had video training since the 70s, created courses. But as we always have to think about what are we doing in addition to that video, because it can't just be an all-one package, right? With computer-based training, I can have everything from start to finish in my module. That includes my assessments. That includes everything just in one module, one nice package. With video, they're going to be using some different things. They're going to have to. Thank you.